Hello, hello. How we doing today, Caz?
Pretty good.
Nice.
Pretty good.
That was Monday.
Good. We had a good time. Got to go over a couple of the first four games that'll be played tomorrow night, and then getting ready to go over the next four games that'll be played on Friday. So excited.
Nice. Yeah, I still have to go back and watch that before the games tomorrow. Let me just get my stream live here, and we will start it up. Cool. Yeah, so today we'll go through the other two regions in the Sweet 16. If you didn't have a chance to listen to Mondays, it's up on it's on our X page, but it's also up on our YouTube page if you want to go back and watch that. And then we won't dive too deep into the MLB, but we'll take a look at the game tonight. Now that we have MLB Live up on Levr, which is pretty awesome. It's cool to see all the games up, and super pumped just to have the MLB starting in general. All right, so let's start with, this is really going to be your show here, Kaz. You know much more on the college basketball side of things than I do. We'll start with Duke and St. John's. St. John's on a bit of a run here. Won on that game-winning shot against Kansas last game. They're going to come into this as dogs here. We got Duke minus 6.5. Can St. John's keep it rolling here? Are they going to put up a fight, or is Duke going to show up for this one?
So Duke's the number one overall seed in this tournament. If you've watched the first couple rounds, they haven't particularly looked like that. They did come into this tournament beat up. Their starting center, I believe, did play on last Saturday. So he played the second round game. He didn't play in the first round game. That first round game was abnormally close, way closer than everybody thought. Siena gave him a great game for as long as they could. And then the next game was also a closer game, but they pulled away. This one could be worrisome. Caleb Foster still didn't play the entire weekend. I think he's game time for this game. He's the starting point guard for Duke. If Duke has them as a Duke, if you're somebody that's a Duke fan, you would be way more excited than not having him. Not having him, I mean, you always want your guy that's going to be your backcourt leader available, and if he's not, that's got to be a little worrisome. The over-under in this game is really low. It's like 142.5, but that's because both these squads are among the nation's top defenses, so that low is justified. But I think like 80% of the bets out there are on the over, which I could see. The biggest thing, St. John's is just going to try to lock down this Duke team. And they need to lock down one guy in particular, and that's Mr. Boozer, who had 22 and 13 versus TCU, which was a huge game. He's like a double-double machine. And St. John's needed a buzzer beater to beat Kansas. But St. John's is also on a 21-1 run since February. So they've been on their own run. I think there's a lot of money on the spread of St. John's. I know they're 6.5-point dogs, but I think what people are expecting is a lot of the Big East fans are going to travel to DC this weekend, and they're going to be rooting for both St. John's and UConn. So I think there's going to be it's going to be like home games for both of those teams. If St. John's can keep this game tight at halftime, I think anything's possible in the second half. My pick here is Duke. I think Duke's been the best team all season. They're the most polished team when they're healthy. But Caleb Foster might not play. They might have a little bit of a weakness. The St. John's team's playing with a chip on their shoulder. After last year, they had an early exit. They got pummeled by UConn back in February. And then since they got pummeled at UConn, They've been on this unbelievable run. Rick Pitino is an all-time great coach. He could get it done. I don't think that he would be outcoached in a game like this, and I think he'll have his guys ready to go. But I'm gonna stick with my guns. I like Duke, but if this game is really close at halftime and that place is rocking and the Big East crowd's there, don't be surprised if St. John's comes out of this on top, or if this comes right down to the wire to like whoever makes the last shot wins it. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, it sounded. I mean, I completely get this. Staying close. Everything when I was looking at this just briefly, it sounded like the biggest concern here was like, can St. John put up 60 here? Can they put up more than 60 here? It sounded like they coming into this, just people are expecting them to have, some issues on the offensive side against this Duke defense, and that's obviously it's shown with that over under.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I mean, that will be the biggest question. But the St. John's defense, they could maybe keep Duke down to 65, 70 points. And that's what makes this a tight game for them. And I think that's what they wanted. That's what they need to do. If Duke gets to 80, then I don't think St. John's can get there.
Okay. Yeah. So they have to do that either way. All right. That either way, yeah, it sounds like it should be a good matchup. Maybe a little tighter, especially if St. John's is feeling that home crowd. Next up here, we've got Michigan State University, MSU playing UConn. Sounds like they'll have some fans there as well. Michigan State's looked pretty good, kind of coasted. I know that Louisville game was a little closer, but it's not like they had a lot of issues there. On the other side, UConn, slow start with that first game, but cruised over UCLA. How are we feeling about these two teams coming in? And sorry, the spread on that right now, UConn's favored at 1.5, I believe it currently is.
Yeah, this is almost a pick 'em at this point. I mean, you got Hurley versus Izzo, which is just an all-time coaching clash. This Michigan State team was highly touted in the preseason to be one of the near favorites to win everything. And then UConn's just been UConn. I mean, they've won a national title recently. They've been one of the better teams in college basketball the last 4 or 5 years. So yeah, this should be an absolute battle. It's going to be really between Caravan, who is a stretch for UConn, versus Kohler, who's the stretch for Michigan State. Those are two stretch forwards that are going to have to deal with each other. Whoever wins that duel probably leads their team to the next round. And in the next round, it's going to be another battle. Like this Washington, D.C., if you were able to go to these games, this is awesome. I mean, Michigan State, Duke are going to travel well. You got two Big East schools in St. John's and UConn. It's going to be awesome. The place is going to be rocking on Friday night. Just going to be amazing atmosphere. Both games could be very tight. Hopefully both games are tight so we get some great basketball. My lean for this is I'm going to go with Michigan State. And I'm going to go with Michigan State because I think they've played just a tougher overall schedule. Their conference, the Big Ten, was a lot deeper this year than the Big East. Granted, St. John's, great team. UConn, great team. They got Villanova into the tournament. They got bounced in the first round. But that was about it. It was like a 3-team league where I think the Big Ten's got, I think, like 7 teams still left in this tournament. So I think that's going to go a long way. Michigan State's used to playing big-time teams night in, night out. That's not a slap against UConn. It is what it is. UConn could still get it done, but I'm actually going to favor Tom Izzo and Michigan State in this one. It's a tight spread. I just like that they have played a better better opponents throughout the entire season. So I think they're going to be they're going to be ready to go a little bit quicker than maybe UConn would be. This isn't going to be too bright for them. Actually, I believe that the total over under on this game is super low also. It's like 135.5, which is the lowest, I think, of all the games on Friday. And that's because these two teams play great defense. Michigan State can smother you. If they want to, they could play a full court press and smother you. So I'd look out for that. But yeah, I like Michigan State, and I like them. I don't need the points. I'd take them straight money line. Forget the points.
Yeah, at 135.5, like you said. And you're right. I mean, Big Ten still got a lot of teams left. And one of those teams, that big upset with Florida, Iowa, came out of the Big Ten as well. So, yeah, I mean, looking at what's remaining, definitely had a tough schedule. Okay, so we're looking at Duke, Michigan State coming out of the east side. Definitely sounds like that could be a pretty close game, though. We will slide over to the west, I believe. Cool. We've got Arizona, Arkansas here. The spread on that, we've got a bigger spread here with Arizona being the 1 seed, 7.5 points.
Midwest.
Oh, Midwest. I'm sorry.
Yeah, in the West. I think you're thinking of Michigan, Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah, that spread's 10.5. Michigan's a big favorite in that game. I mean, obviously, Alabama's without their second leading scorer for legal issues, so that's going to hurt them. To be honest with you, I think Michigan's been the second best team in the country all year. I think it's been Duke and them. I think I would find it fitting if they played each other in the national title. But that will be yet to be seen. But if Bama wants a chance at staying in this game and having a shot, they need to shoot the three and they need to make the three. I should take that back. Alabama already shoots the three, but they need to make a lot of them. I believe Michigan only has 2 losses this year, and in one of those 2 losses, they allowed 15 plus threes in one of those 2 losses. And I think the other game was a very, very, very close game. So when they give up a lot of 3-pointers, and that's probably true for everyone, it makes them susceptible to losing. And I think that's the only shot Alabama has here. Michigan's just bigger. They defend better. They have a better inside presence. So I think for Alabama to have a shot in this game, they're going to have to make the threes. This has the largest spread of any of the game. I'm sorry, the largest. Yeah, it has the largest spread and the largest total, 175.5, which is quite a lot of points. I mean, you're looking at a game, in the mid 70s for both teams, or one team in the low 80s, one team in the 70s. I think that's the way it's going to go too. 175.5. I wouldn't give any pick on if it's going to go over or under, because it's probably right in the right area for that. But Michigan minus 10.5 seems like a scary number. But if this Alabama team doesn't hit threes, I think they're more than capable of covering that 10.5 on Alabama. Because if Alabama falls behind, they're going to have to rely on the three. And if they're not making them, they might struggle to get rebounds to get up multiple shots, because this Michigan team is big down low. And I expect Michigan to pound the ball inside and get some easy buckets in this game. Alabama also plays terrible transition defense. So if they turn the ball over, Michigan should be able to get easy buckets that way too. So I really like Michigan here to move on. And I kind of like them to even cover that 10.5. And I know it's a lot, but that's the way I'm leaning in this one.
And you guys noted day one, you and Kurt, when Kurt was on here, that Bama had a pretty easy path here these first few games. So it also, this also feels like this will be the first time they really, have a tough opponent. So interesting to see for sure. All right, moving on, we've got Tennessee and Iowa State here. A decent spread here, nothing crazy. Tennessee, the dogs here at plus 4.5. Iowa State is I mean, they've pretty much rolled those first two games. It was never particularly close against Kentucky last game either. How do we feel Tennessee and Iowa State here?
Okay, so my filling out this bracket, this was a no-brainer. Take Iowa State. They could score multiple ways. They shoot the three well. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. That's going into, I believe, Saturday or Sunday. And then Joshua Jefferson, the best player on Iowa State. I don't know if you saw the game, but he turned his ankle pretty early in that game. It did not look good. He was in a boot. I don't know if they have announced if it was if he just turned his ankle or if they announced that he, maybe has a sprain. It didn't look good. Looked like he's in some pretty serious pain. They're saying he's a game time decision. If he doesn't play, I like Tennessee's odds a lot better. I think that 4.5 is within reach. If he plays and he looks like he's like the ankle's not going to be an issue, I think Iowa State covers and wins this game easily. I just think that they're too good of a team. They can both offensively and defensively. These teams are both elite defensive teams, but offensively, this Iowa State team is just better. But like I said, if they rule Jefferson out before the game, I like the plus 4.5 for Tennessee. I'd still give Iowa State the lean for the game, but if Jefferson's going to play, I like Iowa State to cover, and I like Iowa State to win. So 138.5 is the total over-under. This one might be one where you see this one go a little bit you probably see this one go under, because I think you're going to see this pace slow down a bit in this game with two really, really good defensive teams. So I might lean on the under in this, but as far as the game goes, I like Iowa State with or without Jefferson. Without Jefferson, I would take Tennessee with the points.
I feel like, I don't watch enough college to really know if they're what they're baking into that line, if they assume he's going to play or not, but probably will be some line movement there no matter what occurs.
Yeah, I agree. Who knows what happens with that if he decides to play. If that, I think the public will move that line a point or two if he decides to play, or if they keep him out, it might just stay the same or tighten up a little bit.
And then with what you've seen thus far in the tournament, any changes in who you feel like you've got coming out of the East and the Midwest here? I'm pretty sure it was pretty straightforward with Michigan and Duke, although it sounded like Iowa State could put up a fight there with Michigan.
Iowa State could put up a fight with Michigan, but if their best player can't go, then I don't think Michigan has a problem. The Iowa State team, if they're good and ready to go, could give Michigan a heck of a game. Michigan's still bigger than Iowa State, especially in the post. They're bigger, but yeah, I would like to stay with I'd like to stay with Michigan, and I'm going to stay with Duke. The longer that Duke is in the tournament, the healthier and better I think they're going to get, which is scary to say. I think the best chances for them to lose was early, because those guys that are injured are starting to become healthier and healthier. And if that team's fully healthy, I think they're the best team in the country, hands down. And I'll stick by that. So, yeah, I have Duke and Michigan should get out of this weekend unscathed.
Nice. I'm with you. Bracket is looking all right. I think I've got nothing to write home about. I think I've got 12 or 13 of the 16 still left. Obviously, that Florida loss didn't help anyone.
I think Kurt and I talked about it on our bracket. Like, if you followed all of our picks, I think Florida is the only one that pretty much a majority of people probably got hit with, unless you're an Iowa fan or if you hate Florida, which I could agree on. Not a big Florida fan, but I think a majority. I want to say we had at least mentioned or brought up like the teams that were capable of making the upsets, and then giving out our picks. We might have missed two combined in the first two rounds. Texas was the one that kind of made a run also, but we discussed that in that lower part of their bracket that could be a mess because it seemed like none of those teams could play defense. But I think we had Purdue. I think we both agreed on having Purdue come out of that, but we weren't sure of who they were going to play because it was a little messy.
Yeah, Texas hurt. Cool story though. I mean, I guess that's the Cinderella this year. All right. So let's move on. We'll just hop into kind of the game tonight with the MLB. So MLB season starting. We've got all the games up on Levr for, well, there's only one tonight. So we'll call it opening night. And then tomorrow it's just a full slate. Everybody's playing for opening day. I love baseball. Happy it's back. And I'll just kind of run through where I'm at on this game. I'll come out and like just say it. I think the Yankees are priced at an odd number here, and I almost feel like I'm being baited into this at negative 120. They have Fried on the mound, who had a rough. I mean, it's spring training, so it's really tough to base how they're going to perform this year. But obviously, did great last year. His first spring training start, not so great this year, but bounced back, got his command under control. He looked really good in that second start. Logan Webb also pitched really well. He was in a couple World Baseball Classic games. He did also get a couple Cy Young votes last year. So very two different type of pitchers. Max Fried will kind of go right at you. He's a power pitcher, whereas Webb's kind of the opposite. You'll play with the corners, a lot more off-speed stuff. I think it'll be a good game either way. I just think the Yankees have the bats here. Trent Grisham coming back for this year. There were concerns about him not being back on the team. We all know Judge has won league MVP 3 times in the last 4 years, I want to say. He has hit well against Webb. It's a pretty small sample size. I think it was like 6 for 9 with 2 home runs. It's really tough to look at batter and pitcher matchups like that when it's not a whole lot of data to look at. But either way, I mean, he's Aaron Judge. He crushes balls. Bellinger just signed a massive deal. He crushed lefties in 2025. He's batting almost 360 off them, so he's in a pretty good spot here. Ben Rice, young first baseman for the Yankees. They love him. Organization's pretty pumped on him. Stanton, he's getting old. I think he's pretty sure he's my age, like 36 now, 37. Let's see. 36, yeah. So he's our age. That, man, feels weird saying that watching him come up and now realizing he's an old player doesn't feel great. But he, in his career, he has batted really well at Oracle. Oracle's not really a power hitting park at all. It's the complete opposite. He had a really good spring, though. He started out hot. That's not normal for him, especially like he's normally coming to the season injured, I feel like. Jazz, another great hitter. He's quick on the bases, too. He could cause some problems. And not a whole lot under that. Not that McMahon's bad, just, not. He's a big, like, strikeout guy. He'll get your power hits as well. But he's not going to be on base a ton. And then Caballero, he's fast. He'll get on base. He'll get some steals. And Austin Wells is the homegrown catcher. Didn't do great last year, but team likes him. And defensively is pretty solid. And then on San Fran's side, I mean, you have good hitters here, but I just feel like it drops off a lot faster in the lineup. So Luis Arraez, phenomenal contact hitter. He had kind of a down year last year, which is crazy to say because he was still batting like 300. He's won the batting title a couple times. He just gets on base and he causes problems. Devers had a terrible spring. 0 for 11 this spring, didn't have a hit. Again, it's spring training. It doesn't mean a ton. Players are trying new things out. But a little concerning being, I'm sure you recall last year, Caz, being a Boston fan, that's where he was. He had a horrid start to the season last year as well. And then he really turned it on. I just don't know if he's there yet this first game. I wouldn't count on it. Willie here, he does not hit lefties well. He's 2 for 6 against Fried in his career. Against lefties, just overall, he's closer to 200 hitter, so I don't see a lot happening here. Chapman, he's decent hitter, not a good spring training. I'm sorry, a great spring training. The issue here is like this is kind of his MO. He has these great springs, and then he comes into the season, and it really takes him a while to get going. It doesn't seem to translate over. Jung-Hoo Lee, pretty sure he was one of the top Korea prospects to come over. He's big contact hitter as well. Odd spot for me to have him in the lineup, but he's there. He's really just trying to get on base. And then Ramos is kind of their like young power hitter, which again, tough to be a power hitter in this park. And then that's where it really falls off for me again. Bader, he's getting old. He's just a strikeout guy. He'll get you a few bombs. Encarnacion, he's young. Had a pretty up and down spring. Recently, he's been hitting well, but again, you're looking for power out of him and not a great park for it. And then Patrick Bailey, really just known for his like defensive prowess, not really much of a hitter. That was a bit of a mouthful. Just kind of wanted to run through them. I just see the Yankee side of this lineup being just a lot harder to navigate. I think Chapman and Devers and Adams, I don't see that part of the order causing a whole lot of problems for Fried unless he has some control issues. I could see people getting on base, but it's tough for me. At negative 120, it just seems like a really good price. I fully understand it's the first game of the year.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, just looking at this game, the only thing so the over under in this, I think is like what, 7 or 7.5 right now. I think it's the last I saw was 7.
Yeah, it's 7 right now. So they're not expecting runs.
No.
And I can kind of see that. I mean, coming from the Yankee side where it's a lot of power hitters in this park, but I just feel like there's going to be more bat on ball.
Yeah, I mean, my issue with the 7 is that it's early in the season, so a lot like, granted, Logan Webb, I think, led the NL in innings pitched last year. Fried is obviously a shutdown pitcher as a starter, but generally early in the season like this, they don't allow these guys to go more than like 5 innings, maybe 5 and a couple thirds, which means it's going to turn into a bullpen game. And bullpens, we went to spring training. They do pitch a lot of bullpen guys, but they're trying to pitch as many guys as they can to see who they're going to actually start the season. Sure, a couple guys have already made the team, but some guys are still fighting for spots. So I just feel like the bullpens are at the disadvantage. And if this is a bullpen game, I kind of like the over 7 number. I didn't see any. I think Judge is to hit a home run tonight was like plus 179. I wouldn't touch that at all. I do like Webb's. His K's is at 6.5 tonight. I would take the under in that. I think I saw his last 2 opening days, he struck out 5 or fewer back-to-back years, and I would stick on that. I just because I don't think that he's going to be out there as long as he normally would. I think he did lead the league in Ks last year, but I think he racks them up, in a week or two when he starts pitching longer in the games, that's when he's going to rack up some more strikeouts. So I like the under 6.5. Not touching a home run prop, and I would probably take the over in runs. And I like I think you're right. I think the Yankees are a good bargain at minus 120.
If this game happens in 3 weeks from now, I just think it's a way different number, especially with Fried going. You're never going to get Fried during the regular season at those odds. I mean, not unless he's going up against an Ohtani or somebody. Yeah, I'm with you. And on the web stuff and just starters in general, you're right. They're not going to go long. You're going to get a bullpen game. Those guys haven't pitched a ton. Very likely could have control issues coming in, and that's when you've got base runners. Then it just takes a hit, and that's when you start scoring runs. Yeah, I'm with you. Do we want to take a quick peek at any of the NBA stuff?
Do you have anything? I didn't really. I think I have. I did do something where I had a bet in, so I do have a couple guys that I need their overs on tonight that I could go over.
Yeah, I have. Excuse me. I think I had Giddy props. He's just going to play a ton. Chicago doesn't have a lot of bodies right now. Detroit at negative 155 against Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta's good. They had that good stretch, but they were also playing teams that were all tanking. I just think it inflated their numbers quite a bit. The only thing that worries me about Detroit here is Cunningham's not going to be playing. Obviously, that's a huge loss. I don't know if it's going to matter all that much. Duran should be able to just dominate that matchup. And then I don't know if we have the Lakers game up because the odds are pretty aggressive. We do have the Lakers game up. We actually have the Lakers at really good odds. Are people sitting? No, everybody's in. We have the Lakers at negative 355 in a game against a team that is really going to start to tank here shortly, the Pacers. I might throw a 5X or a 3X in on that. Pacers have no defense. Lakers defense have been slipping, but Pacers just have none. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull Pascal earlier too.
Luka's been on a tear since he sent his woman over back to the homeland to have that kid.
So, yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at money line and some leverage to take, probably on the Lakers. The Utah Wizards game, Utah-Washington game is very interesting to me. Two teams that are actively just really trying to tank. Utah has a habit, though, of just not being able to tank with the players that they have on the court in some of these really bad matchups because I think they're super deep. I think Utah's going to be a decent team next year. And it's a home game for Utah. They're negative 180 here. Let's see where they currently are in the standings. If they have a game that they can afford to win a game, I think they just kind of, go after this one and give the fans something. But they do have to lose. They're currently second from the bottom. I hate the NBA, dude. When you have half the league trying to tank, it's obnoxious.
Yeah, and they want to add 2 more teams. Or it sounds like they are adding 2 more teams, so figure that out.
One in Vegas, while actively having players gambling issues all year long. We're going to throw a team in Vegas so they can tank and have gambling problems. Makes a lot of sense. Pacers are last with Washington right now. So that makes me like the Pacers to make sure they lose this game even more. And that kind of makes me like Utah more because Washington's just going to make sure they lose it. I don't know if you saw last week when that guy on the Wizards hit the 3 to go into overtime and the whole bench was just holding their head and went up to him and what are you doing? He hit a game-tying 3 on the buzzer.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah, that stuff's obnoxious. So maybe Utah on Utah starts hot. So honestly, I could see a 5X on that. They don't usually start games slow. Should be fun either way, though. high scoring, two terrible teams.
Yeah, I think you talked me into this Lakers bet for sure. And then I just need. I did one of these squad bets. So I had 5 guys that needed to combine over 145 points. I got way more points out of Banchero than I expected last night. He had 36. I got 32 out of Brunson, which was I figured. Jokic only had 23. So tonight, between Randall and Shea Gilgis SGA, Shea Gilgis Alexander, I need I think 34 out of those guys. I'm sorry, 54 out of those guys combined. And that was plus 475, so I'll take that. First time trying that out. It was interesting. Don't know if I'll always do it. Just wanted to test it, but looking good right now. And then, I like the Lakers. Probably put some leverage on them. If I was putting leverage on a college basketball game this weekend, I'll tell you the exact one I'm putting it on. It's not the Iowa-Nebraska game. I feel like that game could be really close. A lot of these games are going to be really close. I would probably put my leverage on Purdue. I like leverage on Michigan. And this is going to surprise some people, but I like putting leverage on Illinois. I think Illinois kind of got unlucky that they're going to have to play Houston.
I like that. Nice. Yeah, and then just before we get off here, I mentioned it. I just looked at Lakers odds on other books right now. They're negative 455. We have them 100 points better than that at negative 355. Plus, you can get leverage on it. I might hammer this. I'm just kind of talking myself in right now.
Yeah, you've already talked me into
even just on 2x, $100 bets paying out 140. That's just on 2x.
That's great.
You're pretty much getting them at like negative 220 odds at that price if you were to take a straight bet with that. All right, man. Thank you, as always, Caz. Everybody, we will see you Friday. Again, we went over the other two regions on Monday, or Caz and Volume Bets did. So definitely hop and watch that video if you're looking to put some bets down. Over the weekend, or Thursday, Friday. You know what? I'm going to show the leaderboard real quick. If you're not in it yet, like we're giving away $5,000 in this March Madness prize pool, but it's done by PNL. So like there's still a ton of opportunity to get in here. I mean, you'll see that we're paying out down to the 25th position. Starting at the 15th position, people are negative that are winning money. So like just get in, and if you're going to bet with a site, like throw in some college bets, get your name on the leaderboard. There's a pretty solid chance you'll win some money even if you do lose the bets. The only thing though, it is a $10 minimum per bet, and you do have to bet on at least 5 of those games. But it's wide open. Like don't feel like if you haven't gotten in yet, it's pointless to try, because again, like a lot of these positions that are paying out right now, people are in negative PNL. So it'll be super easy for you to get in. The top, a little top heavy, but that's to be expected, and who knows what could happen. That's all I've got. We'll be back on Friday. We will post kind of what we're going over then. It'll more than likely be some of the college basketball results. Now that we've got MLB and NBA live, we'll probably run through some of those spots that we like as well. Thanks everybody for listening. Caz, thanks for your time, and we will talk to you guys Friday.
See ya.